Hey, ladies and gentlemen, witches and wizards, our audience, welcome to Nom Watch Review, part of the Nom Talk Network. Sorry, Nom Talk Network. On this show, we review the latest film drop or throwback celebrating a milestone while eating and drinking our favorite movie snacks and drinks. Now, that being said, my name is Alejandro. Today, we are talking about Roadhouse, or I would say actually it's the Roadhouse of 2024. To 2020, 24. That's too many 2020. Anyway, 24 Roadhouse. In my opinion, it should be called Boathouse. We'll go on that in a second. But today I actually have Dr. Pepper and let me get a little fat burger right here. Along with me, I have three amazing guests, and I'm going to introduce all three of them. And what are they having with us today? First, I'd like to go to Mikey. Please introduce yourself, my friend, and what you are having with us today.
Hey, how's it going, guys? So I'm
Perfect.
just having a little pasta and sausage here and green tea. So
Excellent. Fantastic.
yeah,
Excellent. Kenji, introduce yourself, my friend, and what you're having with us today.
Hey everybody, I am Kenji, also known as the Kenjinator. I have with me some home cooking. I feel really bad even showing this. Let's just say my dad made me food, and if you know anything about my dad, he just makes really good food. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to I don't want to make anybody feel bad.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What are you? What are you having specifically? That's you just kind of little
Okay, okay, fine,
switch.
okay, fine. So I have a nice stack of steak here with some bacon wrapped asparagus and a side of mixed greens.
The steak. How you have it cooked, my friend?
Well, in this house we do it rare, and
Hey.
to quote to quote King of the Hill, what if anybody asks for it well done? Well, will they kindly ask them to leave?
Delicious choice, delicious choice. We are non-top, my friend. Please don't feel ashamed to express what you're eating. And last but certainly not least, Liza, would you introduce yourself, my friend, and what you're having with us today?
Hi, my name is Liza Dean, and I always have my tea, my ginger tea. I'll double bag a tea with some spearmint or whatever flavor of the day I'm feeling, and some classic mint Milanos. I have the mint kind of
Ooh.
my favorite, and I personally put them in the freezer, and that way when you bite into them, you can like suck out the freezing feeling. And it's, I can't even tell you. My friends who vape are like, oh, that's gonna get me off my vape. I'm like, I don't vape, but it kind of look like it. I'll sit there and just like suck the cold out of it. It's addicting.
Kind of like that, like the Kool-Aid, the CO2. I know it's not CO2, but I mean, like, yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
it's like a different level of like palate, you know, it's not a flavor, it's like a temperature thing.
So
I don't
you're
know.
actually kind of creating what we call a Milano intervention, so to speak, huh?
Absolutely.
Yes, excellent. Right on. All right. Well, thank you guys for introducing yourself. Today we are talking about, once again, for those that are just joined our stream, are discussing Roadhouse, but the 2024 edition. Now I'm gonna go around with you guys too as well, asking you guys if you actually seen Roadhouse, the original in general. But actually, going in to start with popcorn bucket ratings. I myself have a 2.5 out of 5, and I'll explain a little bit more in depth as we discuss this film. Main reason a little bit is because I happen to be a slight old school fan of the old school Roadhouse, and there's some things over there that just kind of change it for me, so I'll keep it at that just for time's sake while we go into this too as well. But Liza, I'd like to start off with you in this case. Where did you rate it for your popcorn bucket rating? And have you seen the original?
I rated it at a 1,
Okay,
the
gotcha. Yeah.
popcorn bucket.
Okay.
And I watched the original after watching. I hadn't seen the original, so I watched this movie and then watched the original. And I didn't make it till the end, not because I wasn't interested, I fell asleep, but yeah, we'll get into it, I'm sure.
How dare you be a human being and have like things to do in your life and like need sleep? Jesus.
I know, right? In this economy, absolutely not.
No, I get you. I get you. Kenji, we'll start with you, my friend, as well. What is your bucket rating out of 5 popcorn bucket ratings? And have you seen the original?
To answer your question, yes, I have seen the original Roadhouse. I first it was like one of those first movies I saw when my family got like cable for the digital cable for the first time and like a DVR. So I was like, and So like yes, and it's weird to say that you're a fan of Roadhouse because it's like it's not a great movie. But with that said, with this new one, like I gave it a 2.5 as well, and I had my reasons for it as well.
How dare you take a classic like Roadhouse that's so on the labels of a modern day Shakespearean masterpiece and insulted like that? Okay, it's a guilty pleasure. Okay, Kenji, geez, all right. I'm allowed to like crappy movies. I mean,
Look,
some movies. All right, we'll go with that later. All right, Mikey, let's start with you, my friend. What would you rate this out of 5 popcorn bucket ratings? And have you seen the original?
I did see it. I haven't seen it recently. It's been like 10, maybe even longer, maybe 20 years since I've seen it. This one I'm like right down the middle. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. So I give it like a 3 and then an extra half because it was funny at least. So I'm a 3.5 popcorn buckets for this one.
Okay, right on, right
Yeah.
on. I'm gonna try, with those that are watching and with my fellow viewers here, I'm gonna try something a little different. When it comes to this here, comparing, the Roadhouse, the original to this new one, we won't do the comparison so much on that because I want to do that to everybody here. We will mention things here and there, but more along the lines, I'm gonna do a quick cliff note versions of this film because realistically speaking, the plot is kind of real simple. It's what needs to happen and what happens, and it's like voila. So hate to do this to you, Roadhouse, but here we go. And once again, this place should be called Boathouse on this one, but I'll go in that a little later. So, all right, so here we go. Let's go into here. We have the classic Dalton. Dalton is the original character from Roadhouse in the original, and now you start off into the introduction. We have the Post Malone's character, which honestly I wanted to like in the beginning. I was like, I was hyped for the film. I was ready to go. I was like, I'm going to give this thing at least a 4 because anything with Posties gets me smiling here and there. So I was excited with that. But you see him duke it out, doing this Mr. Thing, going back and forth, and you're thinking Post Malone might be a major character in here, considering if you see in the original, there is a couple of popular and familiar faces in the original. Therefore, if you're seeing this one here, you kind of expect a little bit more, let's say, character development. And we find out after Posty does his little, 1-2 on this guy's face. And honestly, when it comes to backyard brawling, he looks like he's doing pretty decently really quickly, throwing some kicks here and there. And we find out later as he hits his opponent on the ground and knocks him out that we have a character, the mysterious hooded man comes inside. Hood man comes inside, sits down on a bench, reveals itself. Turns out, Whisper, you know who that guy is? Dalton. And next, Post Malone's like, fuck that, I want to fight this guy. Doesn't even, hesitate on losing that large wad of cash that he just, probably took a couple good hits in the face for that large opponent previously, and he up and leaves. So we find out Dalton, this character, comes in there because another character, which we find out later, which I believe is going to be, is it Frankie? Or Laura, I have to look at this a little bit here. Let me get that clarity because it's going to bug me. So we are looking at the character Frankie. She introduces herself to Dalton, expresses the fact that she needs Dalton to work at Roadhouse, Roadhouse, and gets the fact that, hey, you should work here. It's fancy, it's fantastic, it's in the Floridian coast, and we have great clientele, and I think you should come out here. Offers them $5,000 every month for 2 months. So I mean, kind of appealing. 10K offer coming in, doing his thing. And he says, sure, why not? Boom, shows up, sees it's kind of crap fest going on. Kind of a classic, beach vibe house that's there. I say house because it's literally a shack connected with what seems to be a surfboard or shop, which seems to be a bar on the outside and inside, and which seems a public access beach. Well, unfortunately, the bands that are playing at the moment are jamming out with their best tunes, coinciding with, let's say, maybe the 10 people that might have been there at the time being, starts drinking alcohol and swinging beers already. It's kind of intense. We see Dalton makes the acknowledgement, and before he even gets there, let's be real, the introduction, he actually runs into what we're looking at, like this bookshop that happens to be to see about like a block down the street from it. This character here, let's see if we can find the character that he's introduced to here. We get run into Charlie. Charlie is going to be the daughter of Steven, which owns this shop here, and she is kind of, I would say, if you see the original Roadhouse, it's kind of the equivalent of the mechanic that is known for what is being the wise one, but in this case she's going to be a wise young one compared to an old man. Now, that being said, where we're at with this introduction, seeing the rowdiness that's going on, seeing the possibilities that Dalton's introduced to, we finally figured out that he kind of takes the job in general after his little lively conversation with the couple, going into the bar, seeing the first night, what's going on. He decides to stay in a boat. Now, I want to continue so forth, but I don't want to keep rambling, and I'll give you 3 opportunities to talk here. So here's the deal. We have the craziness going on. We see Post Malone and I fight, and we see a familiar face. We see rundown Shaq. We see the wise young woman, which happens to be I'd say a little bit of a semi tiny little what's the best way to say this? I don't want to call her prophet. Prophet's a really bad term to use right now. Let's just say she's just a wise, knowledgeable one that's a go-to person at the moment. All right, Mike, we're going to start off with you, my friend. With the pacing of the film where we're at right now, is the plot clear? How are we feeling about the characters, and what's your feeling in the first about 15 minutes of the film?
I mean, I think it was pretty clear. I mean, it's not hard to understand what's going on with the movie called Roadhouse. And if you watch the first movie, you kind of get it. But even if you didn't, I think you kind of just see how this is going. Pacing is fine. It's just, I think it's about this point that the first movie was at too. It didn't like spend too much time setting it up. You don't have to. And it introduces enough of the characters and you know enough about them that it's like, all right. I mean, it's what I expected from this part of the movie. It's fine. It's not nothing special, nothing terrible. It's just just there.
I get you. Excellent. All right. Now into this, let's go on to Kenji here. I'll start with you, my friend. We get introduced to characters like Steven and Charlie at this point. We understand who Frankie is, the owner of the shop, which is down, or Roadhouse, which they all emphasize. It's the Roadhouse. The road, don't have the names. The Roadhouse. It's just the Roadhouse as it is, right? So we have these characters here. What are we feeling in character development, my friend? Is anybody sticking out to you the most? I mean, if not, please spit it out to me. What are we feeling character wise? And then 2, from seeing the original and knowing you, how are you feeling as this seemed like a carbon copy to you?
First, well, it was very jarring because as far as reboots go, like we already were kind of seeing a very different version of Dalton, a very different version of the owner of the bar, which is no longer the Double Deuce. It is now like you said, it's the Roadhouse, and like I don't know, like there were a lot of moments of just me trying to just get over the fact that there was a lot of stuff already not the same. And so it was weird as far as like so already as far as reboots go, it was just really weird. You have it's no longer like a bar in Kansas. It's an actual roadside bar in Kansas. It's bar on the side of the street in Miami, which is weird because he starts off in Miami, I think, or does he start in New York? I don't know. He looks very Miami Vice when we start the original movie. But then in this movie, he starts, it's really interesting. Like in the old version, he starts as a bouncer. He's like already known as that philosophical bouncer that's like known before the internet across the country as that bouncer.
Exactly.
And then but then of course we have Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton, which is also which is like he literally lives out of his car. So like it's interesting to see a lot of interesting characters were starting to be brought up, and I don't know, like there was just a lot of characters that just were weird to be introduced. Like for instance, like you said, Post Malone. I was really hoping he was going to play a bigger part because, like in the original movie, we have the blind guitarist. I forgot who the musician is, but he's fantastic. But yeah, he plays a huge part in it. Post plays no part in it whatsoever, and so I was a little bit bummed by it. It was kind of like one of those like he was on the poster. He was on the poster, and you didn't.
Exactly.
Anyways, I'm talking too much. I'm talking too much.
No.
I want to pass this over to Michael. Michael, I'm taking up too much time.
Well, no, hold on, wait. We can't forget Liza here on this one. I have to go. We cannot for this here. But Liza, coming to you here, coming from somebody that had originally seen this one actually first compared to the original, what is your feeling of the first 15 minutes of the film? Has anything caught your eye enough to keep your attention? Is it kind of a snooze fest? Is there any characters that are really kind of standing out, or is this kind of just a Action film.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember like exactly what happened first. I think it was sort of like where was the first scene that it took place? It took
Oh,
place at like I know there was a fight happening,
yeah,
but
honestly, it was an unknown location. That's the weird thing. I mean, realistically speaking, when it happened, it was duking out in in like some backyard brawling, alleyway area. So they were very,
is
very
that what was
vague.
happening?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
yeah,
I didn't
that's very
I didn't
vague.
know where we were at first. I was like, is it a bar? Like what's the setting here? And there's people
Yeah.
fighting. There's a lot of men fighting, and specifically this big fight in the middle. And then there's you know, Jake Gyllenhaal kind of walks through and is like takes off his coat and his shirt and he's like the guy's like I'm not gonna fight him and I'm just like okay so this guy's somebody that people know but then I couldn't figure out it's like okay so what I've gathered first from the beginning is that this guy goes to bars and like does this where he shows up and people refuse to fight him and he gets money and that's how he makes his money but then this supposed bar owner named Frankie she comes to him and she's like hey, like we need a bouncer at my bar, I guess. And would you do it? I'd pay you like a shitload of money. And he's like, no, I'm good. Jake Gyllenhaal smile. That smile that's just like, yeah, I'm just a little guy. I don't know what you want. It's just this like unassuming, like, I'm just Jake Gyllenhaal. What do you want from me? Yeah. And so it was just like, okay, so he didn't take the money, he didn't take the job. And then from there, I guess I don't even remember what was in between him then deciding to take the job somehow. I don't even remember like what his motivation was. What is his motive? Like, what is this guy's motive? And it's like, I had I mean, having not seen the original film, I had literally no idea what was going on at this point. I was like, okay, so then he goes to this bar. Now he wants to do it. I can't remember what got him there. I can't remember why he changed his mind and why he said no in the first place is still like, I guess a mystery to me. He's like living out of a janky car and he's like sewing up his own wound. He got stabbed in a parking lot. He's just like non-reactive. Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, I just got stabbed. I guess I'm just gonna take the knife out in front of you.
The fact that I understand the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal smile. Yeah, I'm just Jake
yeah,
Gyllenhaal.
I'm just Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm just a little guy. I don't know anything. What do you want from me? I'm just Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know. And honestly, I'm just gonna say like the pervasive thing for me throughout this was that I kept wondering who it was for. I'm like, who's this movie for? And then it happened upon me that this movie was for Jake Gyllenhaal. He was like, I want a vehicle that's gonna let me be shirtless and hot. Let me be like, I'll get jacked. Roadhouse remake. Let's do it. I don't know Post Malone. I know that's like sacrilegious, probably seemingly on this podcast, but
You're good.
I don't know Post Malone. So to me, that was like a whoever that was, just like, okay, so there's this character, and then he decides to go. And I don't want to take it too far ahead without you taking it there.
You're good. You're good.
The characters just kind of fell out of the sky and landed everywhere. And then it was like, I don't know. I couldn't figure out what's this guy's motivation. He literally just kind of shirtless. I got muscles and I'm gonna go hang out by this bus stop. I'm gonna go in this car. I'm gonna pull this knife out of my body.
I'm just Jake Gyllenhaal, just a little guy.
I'm just a little guy.
That's because he's stuck in my head now.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all. That's the main reason why I asked you this because realistically speaking, on the cliff notes here, the starting of the film did seem a little sporadic. Kind of fast forwarding here into what's going on. He ultimately takes the job because he witnesses what's going on in the bar. Money's a nice motivation, yet he seems to be motivated also by the small child wise one that happens to work at the bookshop that's there. We get quickly introduced to characters on and off, such as Lucas, that happens to be what seems to be a bartender slash bouncer that's there, and then Laura, which happens to be the bartender there. They have a quick interaction from Dalton and Laura. He's asking for black coffee. She says, "We don't have it," as she sips on coffee. He's like, "What's that?" She's like, "It's a Cuban coffee." He's like, "Okay, give me Cuban coffee." And they do the interaction with each other. He's like, "Ooh, I like it." And they do the silent acknowledgement of liking each other, because that's very like, "Oh yeah, bartending and yeah stuff." Because oddly enough, doing bartending for 8 years, that kind of crap happens. So that being said, you have that thing going on there. They interact over there. He kind of makes his acknowledgement with the whole bar in his essence. With Frankie watching him, how he handles the disagreements. We ultimately see some main villains come in, or some significant villains. One that's comedic and funny as hell. Mo, he's hilarious. We have JD, which I know him from a Sons of Anarchy Mayans edition. And then you have his little crew that comes in essentially there as well. Which, another thing this film kind of bugs me out. You actually have Dex, Sam, Jack, Steven, Bo, Frank, Billy, Joe, Vince. There's so many damn names of these characters that are surrounded by the main guy, which I don't really necessarily don't have a problem, but you start to realize that there's quick one-liner dialogues. Now, at this point, we figure out that this bar is needed by we're looking at Dex, which happens to be this the main, I'd say, one of the main baddies, or at least the son of a guy that's in prison that contributed mainly to this area they're in right now in Florida, which has gotten money in illegal ways. Therefore, they're trying to go ahead and, we find out pretty soon, take over the Roadhouse and actually use it for the massive hotel and tourist industry they actually want to bring to this area here. Upon this, we see 3 rowdy nights at the Roadhouse, in which Jake Gyllenhaal eventually tells a character that we have here. Where is it at here? Before I miss this, Lucas, and they recruit. I'm sorry, Billy, and they recruit another bar. I'd say bouncer, which is a brief introduction of Reef. Reef, I'm gonna be like really real. He has 2 appearances in this, which I feel sad because he looks like a good character. He gets his butt kicked a couple times, and he does his own thing for a little bit, and that's it. He says some 3 good one-liners, and that's about it. Now, all this being said and done, we find out that it's a little family like inside of this place we call the Roadhouse. And then we find out that the local areas behind it, such as the bookstore with Charlie and Steven, are very, very familiar with the rowdy happenings here. That all being said and done, there are 4 fight scenes that happen between this. He has an interaction with these guys here, which I mentioned, the guy named Dell and Mo. He injures all 5 of them comedically by doing bitch slapping kung fu for a second. Takes their bikes, knows what's going on. They leave, tell the boss. Boss is like, go back and get him. They come back. He bitch slaps them again. Next thing you know, comes back. There's an attempted life killing on actual Dalton himself on the road. Turns out to be JD because he's an asshole. Does this whole freaking crazy truck thing multiple times, tries to kill him. Next thing you know, he jumps out of the truck. Truck hits the water, comes back in. Dalton tries to go back after knowing the fact that it is what's his name, Dell. Finds out that is Dell, does the combat thing with him on the boat, goes back and forth a shotgun, tosses over a boat, says this funny one-liner, and then Dell gets eaten by a crocodile, because that's what happens in Florida's guy. Well, no, not crocodile, alligators. It's alligators in Florida, not crocodiles, so they're vicious. So we're looking at one villain that's dead at this point. In this process, I did mention that there's 4 fight scenes going back and forth between the Roadhouse. In this interaction, we find out that there's a calling. The calling is for the infamous McGregor's character that is named Knox. We find out that Knox is called, and I'm going to be honest with you. Liza, you said a really good funny. Who was this movie made for? I'm starting to wonder if it was semi-made for McGregor here, because we have his Knox come out in Italy at this time being. I'm assuming it's Italy because we hear this woman's own thing speaking, not of Italian, as this guy is angry, which looks like he might just had an affair with her, as he's walking around bare ass naked in Europe, going back and forth into this little area, which happens to be a farmer's market. And he's like, yeah, don't worry, I'll do things for you. And he beats the crap out of locals farming market. And, all of a sudden he pounds out black for a second, talks to the bad guy. We're looking at Billy asking Ben Brandt over here for a second. It's like, all right, I need, to take care of this. And boom, fast forward. Next thing you know, we see Knox walking around with just a suit and the town behind him in flames. So we find out he's a very, very popular guy. He's definitely very diplomatic, we see. Now, with all that being said and done, we have a 5th fight that turns to happen. So Knox kind of shows up, kind of goes up to Ben Brandt, which happens to be the current villain we're looking at, or which you think the top baddie, because his father's in prison, and says, hey, we got a message from your father, gives a good old swap in the face, and says, hey, you got to do something. Now, let's be real. there's two fight scenes that happen between McGregor from Knox and Dalton. The first one that happens, it's a 50-50 thing. Realistically thinking, I really didn't think they're going to take McGregor and have somebody with his fighting skills and look like he's getting his ass kicked too much, because he is somebody that has a lot of cockiness going on. So the way this fight goes, we see that, Knox kind of semi beats the shit out of, Dalton, but Dalton still takes it like a champ. And, in turn doesn't want to, we find out earlier, really lose his cool because he kills his best friend in a boxing ring that we find out a little later. UFC ring that we find a little later. So his motivation's held by a dark presence or past, which starts to slightly piss me off. Now, I want to go this a little faster. I'm sorry, guys. I swear I'm going to give you guys to talk your opinions here. I just want to get over this because there's some things that bug me. I know we have a lot of opinions about this. Now, all that being said and done, we figure like, hey, what's his motive? What's going on here? All right, we see that, Knox makes 2 appearances, beats the crap out of half of the people that he's, technically working with, just to make a point. We find out later in I would say his last fight with Dalton, he beats the crap out of him, right? Dalton's trying to heal. Then I believe Brant sends some additional baddies to the other town areas to send a message, which they burn down the bookstore. Now, what I'm very pissed off about, they're very vague about this. They say they burn down the bookstore. And then on the phone and a call interaction, they're like, hey, what happened to the girl and the man? He's like, oh, they went to the hospital. And you're like, okay, they went to the hospital. Now, this is the one thing. This is where this movie already, because the movie's already getting 3 out of 5 for me. This drops down 2.5 immediately on this point. Is that we then find out that Dalton makes an appearance to where their little shack is, where all the baddies are hanging out. After he finds out that the girl and the man were hurt, goes into what I think a guy named Vince and another guy over there is with him as well, because they have an interaction I forgot to mention here. You actually have, we have Vince and we have a character named Sam. Both Vince and Sam have a previous interaction. They're the ones that fuck up the whole hotel or fuck up the whole bookstore area. And now we have Vince that decides to be left over at the shack. Dalton makes an appearance, and I'm thinking this guy's like a more realistic person. Reality crushes his windpipes and lets him drown in the pool. Now, here's the thing I'm getting a little confused by. For someone that's just moral and correct and such a good guy, and the movie did a horrible job explaining what happened to the other two, because we find out later on in the film they're actually alive, both the father and the kid, which I'm a little upset about. And he double crosses a corrupted cop, which I forgot to mention already, happens to be the father of a love interest he has a haps. I totally skipped over that. I'm sorry, guys. Which love interest is, put in and actually mentioned back and forth here, which is going to be Ellie, which happens to be important because she's inside, the hospital taking care of all the people that he beats the shit out of. But the thing is, that's how confusing the introduction of the characters are, because at this point, we see a half-corrupted cop that gets the sense knocked out of him because of a possibly corrupted Dalton that now shoots 2 bullets in the chest of a guy named Vince that we now think he possibly harmed the child, and he's a moral good guy. Okay, so we're going to fast forward this whole gosh darn thing when he actually happens and figures out, hey, look, the sheriff's actually corrupted as well. So we find out the whole fucking town is full of corrupted cronies back and forth. Honestly, the only people that are not really corrupted are the people at the roadhouse, plus the hospital that Dalton's actually, the hospital person that Dalton's dating, and the girl that was implied that she possibly died because Dalton killed people for her. Reality, we find out that she isn't dead. Holy crap, my explanation is confusing just as much as the movie as it is explained so forth. Now, the reason why I'm saying all this craziness is we find out at the very end that Conor McGregor's character comes back after Dalton comes back to steal the money that these corrupted cronies are making on the side. He goes back to the shack after he already killed one person, sees the really funny guy named Mo. He doesn't kill him. We see he's a good guy. He's just asked Mo where's all the corrupting going on. Mo then fesses up where everybody's at. Dalton heads over to that area, meets all the bad guys. He's about to take care of it. And it makes things explosive. We find out that Conor McGregor gets involved in 2. They have an epic battle fight out. And next thing you know, the boats collide somehow epically into the damn boathouse, the roadhouse, which actually collected from the boathouse, which should be called the boathouse. In reality, run into the boat, into Roadhouse. I'm sorry, I get confusing here. And this epic scene, a fight scene in which we think Conor McGregor, which is going to be Knox, is going to win and knock Dalton out because he stabs him in his freaking gut, ironically near where he got stabbed previously with a knife. And we think he's about to be dead because he's about to lose consciousness. But, McGregor has to do his cocky ass thing and go towards him. And as he does, last minute, we hear the epic fight scene music come out. He rips out his own freaking, thing that he comes out as McGregor brings down what looks like, I think, the hoof of a a deer that he broke down from the previous fight. Conor McGregor's about to bring this down. Jake Gyllenhaal brings his out from his gut, stabs Conor McGregor in the chest, and does this epic thing, and multiply does acupuncture, but the deadly kind way, and shoots in it all over his body. And at this point, we think he's dead, right? All right, he hits the ground, he's dead. Money arrives, and all of a sudden, Jake Gyllenhaal, not Dalton, that character decides to go ahead and somehow mystically send the money off to the wise little girl that was at the bookstore. Her name is I can't forget her name because she actually Charlie. He mystically gives Charlie and Steven a little money going on here, and we see the mystic Jake Gyllenhaal doing his little guy thing, smiling as he said before Liza. He's kind of sitting at the bus stop, I don't know, giving money to people. Am I a good person? Goes to the bus, leaves. Roadhouse, aka Boathouse. Now here's the deal. We then find out that at the end of the cutscenes, that McGregor walks out butt naked, seeing his ass as he comes out of the area. So hey, there's a possible part 2. All right, guys. I rambled 15 minutes on purpose because I want to talk about so much shit, but I didn't want to be caught up on this. All right. So here we go. All right. So, Mikey, I want to start with you, my friend. What are the biggest complaints that you're going to have throughout that was the biggest stick out complaints for you in this film? And was there anything you actually liked about it?
Biggest complaints for Conor McGregor. I can't stand that guy.
Copy.
Even in MMA, I think he doesn't win that many fights. Actually, he's not that great of not recently at least. So I don't know why he doesn't. I don't think his shtick of being this arrogant, cocky, strutting kind of guy. I don't like it. It ruins the movie for me. Among other things that ruined the movie for me. But I mean, that was the main thing I didn't like about him. Also, I don't think the characters were all that memorable compared to the first movie. But also I kind of like that too, because I thought the first movie took itself too seriously. Well, this one was just it's a remake of a somewhat cult movie. Everybody kind of likes it, from back in the day. So they wanted to do something different. So they, instead of making him a philosopher, like a well-known bouncer with a philosophy degree and stuff, like MMA guy, and it's very modern. It's very of the time. So I like that they're doing that. I like that they're trying to be funny at least, because they're not going to be as serious as the last one. I didn't like the
Mike, a slight pause real quick here.
Yeah.
I want you to continue right after this. Just to give you an idea, Liza, I hate to do this to you, but right after this, I want you to think about what's happened. A cue ball redeemed You're So Punny. So if you could think of a pun to come up after Mikey does his opinion on this, I will get back to you. I just wanted to think about that there. Sorry, Mikey, continue on your statement, my friend.
Right. And then also the villains were very just paint by numbers kind of villains, especially the main one. The one that wasn't Conor McGregor, the spoiled rich kid. Very paint by numbers. Very if you're gonna try to be different, at least try to be different from the villains, but they didn't do that. I did like the setting. I thought the change from the Midwest, kind of out in the backwoods kind of roadhouse into a beach setting was kind of cool. It made me understand why she wants to save the bar. And although the reason that the bad guy wants to take the bar is very unimaginative. It's like that's been done before so many times. It's like, oh, do you want the land to build a hotel? That's every single movie where a guy wants to get some sort of clear off the residents of the land, or a housing project or whatever. It's like they always want to clear it out so they can build something better. It's just so cliche. So I didn't like that stuff about it. But I think what saved it for me was some of the comedy and some of the fight scenes, which the fight scenes weren't great, but they were at least. I didn't like the CG fight scenes, let's put it that way. And there's a lot of CG in the fight scenes. So, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah.
No, gotcha. No, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Liza, we're gonna shoot to you, my friend. And you don't have to start off with a pun if you want to do your pun at the very end. It's totally possible, so no pressure. A couple things here. One, what really did you dislike about the film? Please shoot away at the hip. And two, was there anything that was like a saving grace for the film? And when I say saving grace, not like saving a rating for you, anything you actually enjoyed about it. If not, no biggie.
Well, I was trying to think of a pun, and I was trying to think of the the name of what's the name of the bar in the new one?
Oh, the Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
called
just Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, yeah.
So the original movie's called Roadhouse. See, I don't know what a roadhouse even is. I know that, but I probably should have looked that up. I just didn't know that was a thing.
Nah, it was a
And
road.
I'm
I mean,
pretty smart, okay? I am pretty intelligent, and I've never heard of a roadhouse. Like, I don't even know what that is. So maybe is that what a place where like men go and fight, like Fight Club before
well,
Fight Club came out?
what's the best way to say this? I mean, and this is my understanding of it, because I'm going to age myself here. I'm 37. That being said, a roadhouse was a typical style bar, a really grungy area. It was an area that there would have been, shenanigans, outlaw shit happen on, or just a good time that no one would really fuck with over there. That's what it is. You knew a roadhouse was not going to be the cleanest. It was a place to get drunk, place to, find somebody, to hook up with and just have a good time. It's essentially what it was. But I'd say just a kind of grungy off, literally like a road, like a house on the road. That's literally what they were about. And typically, or they're known for bikers and stuff. Yeah.
I think it's also mostly a Southern thing too, right? Am I wrong, or is it a Southern thing?
I would want to say yes. Just because I would compare that, to roadhouses back in the day. Pre-prohibition were back in the day roadhouses, but they were more of like alcohol joints, kind of your speakeasies. But speakeasies definitely I can't really compare the two. That was a jump there. But yes, they would be similar to the illegal happenings in a speakeasy, but in the South.
Okay, I'm really happy to have had that history lesson because that makes a little more sense of some things for me.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I watched the Patrick Swayze one.
Uh-huh.
I didn't make it all the way through, not because it wasn't entertaining. I think it was more entertaining. I think like Patrick Swayze made Roadhouse the original, like what it was. Like he owned that, he ate that shit. Like he ate that shit super hard. He just was that character, and there was a certain quality about him that I genuinely, when I watched it, I was like, is he doing a Bruce Lee impression? Because the way I can't explain, but his movement, not even just as like in his fight choreography or anything, which I'd love for Kenji to like talk about the angle of stunts, but compare between the two movies because I can't speak to that as much. I think the cinematography, obviously, in the new one is like probably the most compelling part of it to me to watch, was that there was some very cool point of view shots and different ways that they, framed it, cinematically that were really interesting in terms of just watching a fight in action. But I think you were like out of breath after like trying to summarize this movie, and I'm like, I was applauding you because it's like, who could summarize this? It's so disjointed, it's so all over the place. There's this character and this character and what, and there's a little girl, and now it's on fire and people are in the hospital, and I just didn't know what was going to happen next. It to me, I think one of my biggest gripes, if I may, about the Jake Gyllenhaal version is that I mean, his character wasn't believable. I couldn't pinpoint his motivation at all. But and he also just had like this brooding thing that's just kind of fucking annoying. If I can be honest. It's just like compared to Patrick Swayze didn't have to go there. He didn't have to go into that emo boy like so like dark and shit. Like he was like just like, I don't know. He did the like upbeat thing, but he was more believable. Whereas like Jake Gyllenhaal's like, I'm a good guy. I'm afraid for them if they piss me off because I can't stop. It's just like I'm afraid to be alone in a room with you, and like even if you had literally no physical strength, I would be terrified. You're scary as a person. I didn't understand. I had to really pick on the relation, the love interest, the one female in the movie that I can even, the one bartender I guess does not pass the Bechdel test. I don't believe. There's no way. I didn't expect that, but it's like the only female character in the movie is the love interest. It rapidly just jumps from meeting her in the ER and being like, no, I don't want any anesthetic. I like pain. Sew it up. And she's like, okay. And then like literally the next thing that I saw her do was show up on like a boat and just know where he was and just show up. I was like, wait a second. And she's just like, come with me. I'm like, Did they cut a scene here? Wait, what?
Uh,
I mean, he saw her like out at a
she's
bar like one
she's
other
like,
time,
I got the
and he
boat
was.
from an ex.
Is that what I didn't? I was so confused by
Uh,
that. I was like, wait, I know he saw her out at a restaurant, and he was like, "Fuck Frank, fuck your hairstylist for fucking up your hair." Yeah, girl, hair, girls like hair, right? Cool. That's how I talk to women, I guess. I don't know what that was. It was like just that scene was just not even. He could have just cut it, but she still because it doesn't explain. She just shows up where he is, living on a boat, and she's on a boat, and she's like, "Come with me. You have to come with me." And he's like, "I'm just like, what? What? You guys don't even know each other beyond two interactions, like that were both like one was professional and the other was hardly an interaction. It was just like a hi, saw you out while I was out." But she shows up and then she's like, "Come with me." And then I thought something was gonna happen, like something she's taking him somewhere. And then she just like takes him out to a sandbar and like cracks a beer, which like, yeah, that's a spectacular date idea, cinematically speaking, but you really have to make a whole movie to like, I mean, I don't know. It just was so like, okay, so now they're like talking and drinking beer, and her dad is like, is it revealed yet that her dad's like the sheriff or
yeah, the
something? There's
sheriff.
so many.
Yeah, it's
You're a doctor, but your dad owns the city. But there's this other thing. And so then like he shows up, next thing we know, he shows up back at his boat, I guess, and he's like
yeah.
shirtless and just kind of got that look on his face, like, yeah. And I'm like, did they just like did they he does he even know her first name? Like they met twice, not even like what? It was so confusing where this even that whole thing was just like there was like not enough women in the films that were like, let's throw in like that's how you do women, I guess, in movies.
Yeah.
Just throw them on a boat and be like, I mean, she was beautiful and talented and everything, but it just, oh, I guess there was the little girl character
I was
too, but
the
like,
the only
you could have
wise one
thrown
throughout the
her
whole
away.
film.
Yeah, I mean, but genuinely, like, what I didn't understand the point of that character at all. I was like, why is there a little girl? What? Okay, just to make it more like high stakes, let's just make it a little higher stakes. Throw a little girl in here because I think there's like a convenience store in the first one, but I just
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
it's the auto shop. Yeah, the auto repair shop
I
compared to the bookstore.
I felt nothing for these characters. I, at no point in this rambling, incoherent film did I feel even a modicum of emotion towards any of these characters. You just can't feel any. And there's the woman who's like, "My name's Frankie. I own a bar. I'm scrappy, and I didn't tell you the whole truth. Sorry. I don't know. They want my bar."
I'm
I
scrappy.
literally don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. The Conor McGregor scene is so like it seems like a UFC like a bumper like some sort of bumper to like advertise like I just had sex and now I'm gonna walk around naked and I like to fight people. Like it was so like all right, that was cool, dude. Good for you. This is nothing. This movie is just one big. Oh, I need to come up with a pun. I had it. It was like, shit. No, I lost it. Um, I had one, but it was
It's okay.
like,
It's okay. No stress, no pressure. What I'll do, I'm gonna
yeah,
go up to Kenji, and if you come up with it,
yeah,
please let us know real quick here.
yes.
It's a-okay. It's a-okay. Kenji, coming up here, buddy, as well. Anything that majorly you hate about the film, and was there anything that redeemed any lightness for you about the film?
Oh, I mean, I couldn't understand what the fuck was going on with this movie. I mean, it was just so incoherent. And then when you find out that it's just a basic like plot, like a like real estate plot again, like Michael said, it's a real estate plot again. Didn't Burlesque do this exact same plot? I mean, come on. So like come on. So it was one of the redeeming things. I mean, about it was that I mean, when we were watching it, I was watching it with Liza and a roommate, and I've been tr teaching her roommate a little bit of like a little bit of fighting moves and stuff for like fitness and stuff, and you know, just for like you know overall just good self defense. There was a moment in the movie where they do this like this overhand punch and this like kind of like this overhand and when he does it, like he kind of looked at me and was like, "Oh, hey, that was the thing you just taught me the other day." And I was like, "Yeah, it was." So like that was like one of the redeeming things. But I don't know if I didn't have that moment, I don't know if I would have liked the movie as much, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the thing. It's like I think the movie was more enjoyable because I was watching it with Liza and a roommate, and I'm not gonna lie, we were ripping it to shreds because we were just like we were like to shreds, you say? Like I mean, we were just ripping it so much because like, and we were just having a great time doing it. So I feel like I'm kind of looking at it with some beer goggles. I'm not gonna lie, but like that's probably why I put it at the 50% mark like I have. But the fighting had some decent moments. I will say that the fighting was
Pause, Kenji, real quick
yeah.
here. Cue ball redeemed hydrate. So go ahead, guys, pick up your drink. As you as a Kenji, you too. It could be alcoholic or it could be standard, but go ahead, hydrate, my friends.
Well, if you say alcoholic, well, I suppose this 91% alcohol will be fine. Let me.
It's a little too alcohol there.
I don't have any.
And then what? How
enough
dare
water.
you? Then the
They
next
drink
one.
straight rubbing alcohol at Roadhouse. That is all that they drink.
Exactly. Boathouse.
Straight rubbing alcohol and Cuban coffee.
Exactly,
God.
right? Also,
No.
Nom Talk redeemed stretch. So you, but stretch. Oh, I got stretch. Okay. That being said, please continue as I stretch.
Well, I mean, I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal must have like bought out the entire Hawaiian shirt supply in Florida because like it was like every shot he was in, it was like a new shirt. It was a new shirt, and either it was like all the way the hell down here, open up here, just to show the 6 months of physical training that I went through to get to this physique. You know, it's like Adrian Brody in the Predators movie. You know, it's like they wanted to cover him up with mud, but he was like, "No, I worked out really hard for this body. You're not gonna put mud all over me." So he just kind of smeared a little bit on him. But anyways, like the movie, it was there. Like I said, there were characters that you just didn't care about. Like the only thing is like, I guess I have to care about this girl being hurt, about the bookshop girl being hurt because she's a child. And morally, as a human being, if I don't care about a child being hurt, I'm an asshole. So like that's the only reason. But other than that, there's like no reason why. And also the other thing I wanted to point out was at the end of the movie, that briefcase full of money that he just gives to the bookshop. I was like, that's very nice, but fuck Frankie though, because like I mean, it's not like a boat went through the side of her thing, not like a pickup truck driven by GTA character Conor McGregor goes straight through the freaking front door with the fucking Dodge that he freaking stole off the roof, off of a bridge, like very literally just doing one of these things. I mean, and I'm right there with you, Michael. I've met Conor McGregor. Like he came into a bar that I worked at once. He literally acts like that in real life, and it's like it's almost like as if it's like you every time you watch him fight and every time you watch him win, you don't want to, and which is why I was so happy when freaking Khabib took him down technically, but I'm not gonna lie though, the brawl that started after the fight was way more impressive than the fight itself. But like, yeah, like it just, I don't know, like they kind of soft set it up for like a spin-off with Conor McGregor's character. I hope not. I mean, apparently Conor McGregor did this because apparently Meryl Streep said some like things about UFC. She said it was like boorish and like just uncivilized and stuff like that. So he was just like, so like it's just like this is his rebuttal to try and be like, well, fuck you, Meryl Streep. This is what I'm going to do. He just shows up, just shuts on over, just being Conor McGregor, and he made his point very well. I mean, there's a reason why not too many athletes do this. Like, I mean, I will say, as far as UFC fighters go, he was a much more interesting person to watch on screen than Ronda Rousey was in the Fast Furious movies. But like, like, and I'm not trying to like, I really don't want to dunk on her, but like, even in WWE, she has no mic skill. But
Yeah,
so so
very true.
so with that said, like, I mean, I hope they don't do a spin-off sequel to this because it's just
You don't want a Roadhouse 2? How dare
Roadhouse
you?
is
You don't want like
Roadhouse is the duplex.
I want to make it. I'm gonna make a boathouse. Boathouse.
I hope not. I mean, I really hope not. Like, I to be honest, I don't think they needed to call this Roadhouse. They could have easily have called this something else
Thank you.
because, like, it easily could have been like another movie, just not having the characters Dalton and whatever the heck. I mean, we also had. I mean, I hated that there was no philosophy behind it. Mind you, though, the original Roadhouse, it was like he does all this Tai Chi stuff, but then the fights become extremely meat and potatoes. the I liked the fighting in this one just because like it was actual like mixed martial arts in very many ways, but like it's I don't know it like it was funny at moments, but it also seemed like inappropriate at times. You know, like it just didn't like sometimes the jokes just came out of nowhere. It's like you see him just being brooding and brooding, but then the second anybody tries being brooding with him, he just becomes, I'm just Jake Gyllenhaal. You know, like I feel like I love that this is
Just
now
a
that's
little
the now the
guy.
go-to. That's the go-to way to describe what we're trying to say.
Love it.
It's just he's just
Love
like,
it.
I'm just Jake Gyllenhaal. You know, we have you know, Big Dick, the sheriff.
Mhm.
We have all like there were so many characters that we apparently I had names that we didn't know. I couldn't keep track of like on the bad guy side alone.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot. I mean, I'm
I
counting right now only 9, but yeah.
I mean just for villains, I mean the original one I think had like 5 henchmen,
Yeah,
and the only one that
yeah, yeah.
and the only one that really had a name was Dylan. That was the one who said some really like eyebrow raising things like "your ass is mine" and "I used to f guys like you in prison." You know,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
No, and
Despite
Exactly.
all
I feel like go ahead, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like despite all the sex that was in first Roadhouse movie, like was had its very like homosexual undertones for trying to be too masculine, and I feel like this movie did too. So in ways, they were kindred spirits in that situation, but like otherwise, like
I think we were trying to figure out which one was the straighter of the two roadhouses, and
What
I
was it?
thought that
Oh my God. Go on,
we
please.
had a whole thing about because I feel like I don't know, it's really hard to discern that. It feels like I think the first one has all this questionable stuff that happens to women, but it's like and it's true that most of the women are just like kind of you know what I mean, the like objectified woman
Yeah,
character, but I
just side
still felt
pieces.
like to throw my pun out, I this is really bad, but this is what I came up with for the Conor McGregor Roadhouse. More like Showdown.
Oh, I approve. I approve. Oh my God, while we're looking at time
That's
here,
good.
no, you guys are right, fully right here. That's my main complaint about the film in general. If they were going to call it Roadhouse, they should have just did a totally different film. The original Roadhouse, just to explain here, kind of a cult classic. I love the fact that Liza did mention something, mention this. Swayze is an actual huge fan of Bruce Lee. And in regards to when they were talking about this character, his character was supposed to be a very wise bouncer that nearly beat somebody to death inside prison, inside the actual one of the places working at. Borderline almost, he went to, prison himself for a little bit, came by, wanted to refine himself and so forth as well. So you have this person that did not like harming. So most of his moves were there to disarm and actually get people out of the bar. So you have this character that actually does that in the very first film, does a decent job of it in regards to the starting it. And realistically speaking, character-wise, character development, the very first Roadhouse, was in your face, but there was famous faces. You knew it was a guy's guy. You knew you were like, oh yeah, these guys are about to duke it out. I mean, you got these, these five notorious people that you're notorious for seeing in action films, rock star music videos, stuff of that nature. So you knew shit was about to happen. It was those five versus the notorious set of bad guys that this, rich guy in the South had. As Kenji said, there was only one noticeable villain, and he's the one that says, "I fuck you, that guy's in prison." And that was like his famous line there, as he notoriously beat the crap out of some good guys. And actually, Swayze's motivation was actually having his homie almost beat to death in there, and he went over there to duke it out with them just one-on-one. And like I said, he duked it out and almost killed the guy inside the water because he had to save his life, and that's just how it is. But for some odd reason in this one, he was like, oh, you put a little girl in the hospital, I'm going to double cross everybody and kill like 60 people and be like, you don't like me when I'm angry. As Liza said, I'm just Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm just a little guy.
I'm like, Kenji should do an impression. Can you do a Jake Gyllenhaal impression of him? Just like, I'm a little guy. I can't do it. Kenji's killer impressionist.
I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just a guy. I get when I get angry, I beat people to death. I'm just a guy, Just
I'm just a guy. Oh my goodness, Lord. Oh, that being said, not to crap on any future Roadhouse makes coming in, or people that want to make similar Roadhouses, please keep coming out with stuff. We love creative concepts, but please change around a little bit. On the same note, there was no character development for any females on this film at all, any way, shape, or form. It was kind of stuck on the whole save me, and I think you're sexy, and then save me, and thank you for saving me. So that was pretty much all when it comes to it. I did see an action film that seemed to go in a certain direction and unfortunately lost its way, and they wanted to make it a little different. So they made the Dalton character looked like a psychotic murderer, considering the fact that he almost beat somebody to death in the very his introduction. But that being said, that's neither here or there. I want to let everybody know where we can find you, wonderful people, on your socials. So I'm gonna start with you, Kenji. Where can we find you on your social media, my friend?
You can find me at Kenjinator on TikTok and Instagram. You can also find me on Twitch at the Kenjinator. I sometimes stream video games. I also am part of a D&D podcast with my dad at KDNLA. We are the Gatewalker Saga. Oh, I actually brought those cups downstairs for a change. But yes, we're part of a D&D group. It's usually on Sundays from 3. Check it out.
Right on. For you, Liza, my friend, where can we find you on your socials?
I'm the Red Banshee on Instagram, and yeah, that's where you can find me.
Right on. I like the name Red Banshee. And Mikey, where can we find you, my friend, on your socials?
Grip C47 on all socials, and that's it. Yeah.
Excellent. Right on. You can find me, IAMCOWIE. I am Cowie on Instagram here on Nom Talk Network, or TikTok at Alejandro.Cowie. All the shenanigans. Well, that's all the time we have to talk about today on Roadhouse 2024. Thank you all again for tuning in. Be sure to join our Discord to keep the conversation going, as well as subscribing to all platforms at Nom Talk Network. Tune into our next show, which should be the goodness gracious, I'm not seeing the show. What's the next one? Monday. Well, the next show we'll have an update then. I'm a horrible host, but we'll catch up later. But anyway, love, peace, shade, grease, never ground, never surrender. You guys have a lovely day. Goodbye.